This deck is probably one of the top sleeper picks for this format, and it's definitely flown under most people's radars, and I'm here to show you why. Today I'm going to be going over some adventure Plunder Patrol test hands and combos so you guys can sort of see how the deck's meant to be played, and some of the combos that the deck usually tries to go for. So if you guys enjoy this type of content, be sure to let me know by leaving a like, commenting, and subscribing. But with that being said, let's just hop straight into the video. We're going to finish shuffling up and do a going first test hand to see what we can do. So we're going to start things off with Nibiru, Black Eyes, a Water Enchantress, Emblem, and a Water Enchantress. So right off the bat, it seems like a very meh hand, to be honest, because Black Eyes, we don't have another Plunder Patrol in the graveyard to actually be able to get access to recurring something. But the fact that we opened the Adventure Engine, I guess, is perfect because it just shows how much the engine does for this deck. We're gonna start things off, of course, by activating the Water Enchantress from the Temple to add the Rite of Aramesir from our deck to our hand. Activate the Rite of Aramesir, placing the copy of Fateful Adventure from our deck, and then summoning out a Adventure token. And then from here, what we can do is we want to actually get the Black Eyes on the board, of course, because we're going to be link summoning with it. So we're going to normal summon the Black Eyes. That's going to trigger Fateful Adventure to go ahead and add a copy of Draco back. And then from here, we can just activate the Fateful Adventure to search a copy of Griffin Rider. So we're actually going to be able to end on the Griffin Rider here because we have the extra extender and Water Enchantress, or we don't even need to use it at all if we want to keep the emblem. So what I mean by that is we can pitch the Draco back off of Faithful, re-equip to the token, special summon out the Griffin Rider, and then from here we have either the option to special Water Enchantress and then link away with Black Eyes for Blackbeard, or what we can do is equip Emblem, send Black Eyes to summon out a copy of our Blackbeard that way. But I think this way is definitely a lot better, where we just special summon Enchantress and then link summon for the copy of Blackbeard. The reason being, we want to have a Plunder name in our hand to discard for whatever ship we're summoning. So if we had done the Emblem route, then we wouldn't have been able to guarantee that we would actually see a Plunder card in our hand, meaning we won't necessarily be able to use our ships. We'd all be relying on the single draw off of Blackbeard, and usually that just isn't very reliable. So you definitely want to guarantee that you have a Plunder name in your hand. Even if it isn't the best one to discard, it's still decent in the sense that like you're guaranteed to have a fodder. So on your opponent's turn, of course, you have the Wandering Griffin Rider negate, but you also have the Blackbeard to turn into any one of the attributes they make. Like, of course, light is ideal, but dark is probably one that most decks are going to have. So assuming we summon this, we draw a card, we have access to our Plunder engine for next turn too, since no matter what we summon, we're able to get rid of this, search another Plunder card, and that's our follow-up. Not to mention we have all this Adventure follow-up as well. So even though this isn't like the best end board by any means, it should be enough to get us through, and we're able to start grinding out the game from there with our Adventure engine as well as our Plunder engine online. So yeah, that's going to do it for the very first test hand. So not the most exciting, but our hand wasn't the greatest. So it just goes to show, even when our hand isn't great, we're still able to set up a board that's able to grind out with our opponent, and we're going to be able to eventually win the game from there. Alright, so shuffling up for our going second test hand, the Adventure engine is also great in this sense because it helps us go second as well by either baiting out interruptions or using Draco back, of course, to crack any boards, and Illegal Knight if we do decide to side into it. So either way, like going first or second, the Adventure engine is just incredibly good in this deck. Alright, so let's see what we start with. We're going to start off with a Foolish Burial, Black Eyes, Ash Blossom, Water Enchantress, and a Plunder Patrol Shipyard. So a really strong hand. We're going to Ash Blossom our opponent, draw for turn, draw Golden Hair. So this is pretty great because we have access to the Adventure engine and our Plunder engine. That's the thing, you always want access to your Adventure engine and also to your Plunder engine as well. So what we can do is start with the copy of Shipyard. Shipyard, discard Water Enchantress is just probably the freest discard out there. It's just so good in that sense, since you're able to just mitigate the cost essentially that Shipyard has. We're going to add a copy of Whitebeard here. And then the important thing to remember with the adventure engine is since a lot of your plunders lock you into only special link plunders for the rest of the turn, you're going to want to use your adventure stuff first. So we're going to activate the Water Enchantress. Water Enchantress grabs a copy of Right. We're going to activate the Right, placing the Fateful Adventure, summoning out our token. And then here's where like the board cracking aspect of the adventure engine comes in, because now we're going to be able to, for example, special summon or normal summon first Whitebeard, activate the effect of Fateful Adventure to add a copy of our Draco back, and then we can mitigate the other effect, the cost of Fateful Adventure, by just using it to search Griffin Rider, ditching the Draco back re-equipping to the token, and then now we have a way to force out one of our opponent's negations, plus another way to deal with one of our opponent's negations as well. So once we bounce a card, we summon out Griffin Rider. We're essentially like, we got all the non-plunder stuff out of the way, so now we can start playing with our plunder cards. At this point, it's going to seem a little bit weird because we don't want to link off any of these, but since we do have Foolish Burial, we're able to do I guess, use Black Eyes to its max potential, because we're able to dump a card like Bluebeard, activate Black Eyes to grab back the Bluebeard, so now we have an extender plus like a plunder name in hand, and we didn't have to give up any of these. And then from here, a couple different options. So right off the bat, depending on what our opponent like has as their attributes, like we can turn into Blackbeard. This is probably the best one because it's the most proactive thing we're gonna do. We're gonna summon the Blackbeard, activate the effect of this to special summon out a copy of our Golden Hair, and then from here next we can like special summon out Bluebeard. We can overlay the two for Mork, for example. Let's just assume we're trying to out like some of our opponent's board. We'll use Mork effect, detaching this, or not detaching this, sorry, discarding the Plunder, banishing one of our opponent's monsters, and then searching a Plunder spell. So we can do that. And then the great thing about a card like Blackbeard is we can turn any monster or any monster into another ship. So depending on what attributes our opponent has, we can turn this Mork, which won't be as useful now because since it doesn't have a Plunder equipped, and it won't be a quick effect in that case. We're gonna be able to turn this into another ship. So like turn to like a Jord or a List. It all depends on what attribute our opponent has, but either way, like this just represents whatever ship we're gonna be going into. And then from here, of course, like assuming this isn't game somehow, on our opponent's turn, we're gonna have this ship as disruption. We're gonna have Griffin Rider as an Omni Negate, Blackbeard as another way to turn itself into another ship and get another draw. And then, of course, we have we'll have two ships essentially to be able to stop our opponents. So you can see, like, going second, the adventure engine adds a lot to the deck as well. So definitely recommend playing this build if you have access to it. If you don't, then I recommend checking out my going second Kaiju build, which is a lot more budget friendly. I already posted it on the channel, so be sure to check that out if you haven't already. But yeah, with that being said, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Take care.